On Thai PBS World tonight, 4 people have died after drinking contaminated liquor. Search continues for 3 people trapped in Korat tunnel. And great news for the government as household debt slows slightly. But what are the underlying implications?
You're watching Thai PBS World tonight. I'm Frank Kanshi.
And I'm Nad Bunat.
Today we're gonna start tragic news in various districts in Bangkok. 4 people have died after drinking contaminated herbal liquor. 34 people have been hospitalized after drinking the liquor. Most of them are in critical condition. Thailand's Public Health Emergency Operations Center has revealed that at least 34 patients have been admitted to hospitals over the past week in various districts of Bangkok, all suffering from methanol poisoning after drinking toxic herbal liquors laced with methanol. Among them, 4 people have died. 15 patients are on ventilators, while 22 patients had to go through kidney dialysis. The incident has led to the closure of at least 18 stores selling the liquors in Minburi and other districts in Bangkok. Director General of the Exercise Department says that all those admitted to the hospital with methanol intoxication had consumed liquors purchased from stores in these areas. They were admitted to hospitals after experiencing dizziness, stomach ache, vomiting, blood vision, and seizures. Meanwhile, 2 brothers have been arrested for allegedly selling alcoholic beverage without a permit and potentially face charges of attempted murder. According to police, the 2 brothers confessed to producing the liquors in question as a sideline business. They allegedly purchased methanol from a factory from Bangkok's Lakabang area. The liquor recipe was found on the internet and involved mixing water and methanol for a 35 to 40% concentration of alcohol among the other steps. They rented a building in Ganchana Soy 25 in Bangkok and stored the mixture in gallon cans before supplying it to the stores, from which the victim bolted. The owner of a factory in Sapansun district admitted to police that she only supplied the herbal liquors to the 2 brothers who are her relatives. She also claimed that the 2 brothers were responsible for lacing the liquors with methanol. This is a very dangerous action to mixing, actually, no matter it's liquor or liquor with methanol, because if I think consumer or people like us, if we drink it, we might feel nausea, vomiting, stomach pain, or finally maybe die.
This is really dangerous indeed. And it's really interesting, though, how the Deputy Director General of the Excise Department commented that all of those admitted to hospitals experience methanol intoxication. So this is already a warning sign already that you should never drink alcohol. And when you drink alcohol that is laced with other toxic chemicals, is really dangerous, and it can cause you your life as well.
Yeah, and it's not just one district in Bangkok. There are various districts of Bangkok that they found this dangerous illegal liquor laced with methanol. So people have to be very careful when you, of course, you go to stores, no matter it's legal one, or you went to the regulated one, have to be very careful if that liquor is really regulated by the government.
Right, and we'll have to find out what will happen in terms of the other patients and whether they will recover or not, and what the government will actually do to deal with this illegal liquors as well. And now let's move on to the ongoing rescue of the 3 workers who are still trapped inside a collapsed train tunnel in Nakhon Ratchasima since Sunday. And we have to say that the rescue team has been racing against time to help the 3 workers, and that includes 1 Chinese worker and 2 Myanmar workers. And the 3 workers have been trapped inside a collapsed train tunnel in Pak Chong district of Nakhon Ratchasima province since Sunday. And the train tunnel, which collapsed on that day, was under construction for the Thai-Chinese high-speed railway project. And it is also believed that the 3 workers are trapped about 45 meters from the location of the collapse. As for the rescue operations, a remotely controlled robot will be used to help in the search and rescue of the 3 workers trapped inside the tunnel. And the robot is being used because the rubble continues to fall from the ceiling of the tunnel, and that prevents the search to go safely. And the rescue team of the Department of Public Disaster Prevention and Mitigation are actually working really hard to save the 3 workers who are trapped inside the tunnel. But there are some good news though, because they managed to find the 3 workers through a device, and it was expected that the first worker will be rescued by 4 p.m. today, but hopefully all of them will be rescued safely.
I think a good side of this story, of course, right now we have modern technology.
Yes.
So robot can help us to find those people who trapped under the tunnel. But when no matter workers or drivers or people like us walk through a tunnel and the tunnel collapse, it's very risky. In one point that, of course, the tunnel blocked.
Yeah.
We might face the suffocation, as in lacking oxygen in the space. So, of course, the rescue team has to expedite their procedures to get those people out. Of course, you talk about at 4 p.m. today, we would have some people trapped inside the tunnel get out from that place, but hopefully we can get everyone out.
It's really interesting how you mentioned the use of modern technology to locate the 3 workers being trapped inside the train tunnel, because if you see the images, the rescue operations looked really difficult. And it's going to be a tough one. And most of the rescue teams had experience rescuing people who have been trapped under a collapsed building. But this is the first time that they will be rescuing someone from a collapsed tunnel. So that is a huge challenge for the rescue team already.
It's totally different scale there. And of course, people talk about this 32 golden rescue hour, that 3 days for people trapped inside, they can get out from the tunnel or the space in 3 days. But of course, right now, it's the developing story right now. And we hope that they can get out safely.
And hopefully once they are rescued, they will receive good treatment in hospitals as well.
Right. Let's turn the page to flooding situation. As we yesterday talked about it. Yesterday we talked about that water discharge through Chao Phraya Dam is increasing. Bangkok and nearby provinces have been warned to prepare for the increase of the water level at Chao Phraya River, which may affect communities nearby the river. Bangkok Metropolitan Administration has prepared 1.5 million sandbags to strengthen the city's flood walls ahead of the arrival of northern runoffs after the Royal Irrigation Department increased the discharge of water through the Chao Phraya Dam in northern part of the province. Bangkok Governor Chacha Sitipon said today that they are less worried about the northern runoff than they are about heavy rainfall in the city, which may cause flooding. Nevertheless, he said about 250,000 sandbags have already been placed in gaps in the flood walls, which will prevent runoffs from flowing into the capital. He assured that the city's administration is well prepared and has coordinated with all relevant agencies in dealing with the arrival of the huge volume of water heading south. The Royal Irrigation Department reported today that it has increased the discharge rate of water through the Chao Phraya Dam to 917 cubic meters per second, and that this will cause the water level in low-lying areas outside flood walls in Angthong, part of Sena, and Phahai district of Ayutthaya to rise by 0.5 to 1.5 meters.
And because of this, riverside communities in Uthai Thani, Chainat, Singburi, Ang Thong, Suphanburi, Ayutthaya, Lopburi, and Pathum Thani, and also Bangkok have been advised to monitor the water situation closely. Meanwhile, if we go to Thailand's northern province of Sukhothai, runoffs from Phra are flowing through the province in the Yom River, inundating low-lying areas in several districts in Sukhothai. And the depth of the Yom River now averages about 7 meters, which is still below the tops of the banks, except in low-lying areas. And another mass of water from the Wangchin district of Phra is expected to reach Sri Sachanalai at around noon today, with a flow rate of 1,700 cubic meters per second, which is already about 500 cubic meters per second above local water management's capacity. The National Water Resources Office has decided to divert the excess water through the Sapanchan sluice gate into a network of canals to reduce the amount reaching the provincial towns. So this is going to be a tough challenge for the Royal Irrigation Department, because the amount of excess water being discharged, and this will affect a lot of communities, not just up north, but now in the central region are being put on alert in case of flooding as well.
And you talk about the statistics there. Of course, the water level there, water amount there is 3 times more than usual. So, of course, you can see, of course, some outflow of the water might go into some region, especially people are experiencing this kind of water, this big amount of water, and we have the remnants of 2011. That's of course, the Bangkok inundation day, flooding day for us. I think, of course, like Kun Cha, the Bangkok governor, right now is already taking some cautious measures to deal with the outflow of the very big amount of water coming from north to south to central region. Okay, so I think people are taking challenges now.
It is a huge challenge, but I think there are ways to prevent the situation from repeating itself like it occurred in 2011. But this all depends on the water management and how they actually prevent the floods from overflowing into Bangkok as well. And before we talk about the Thai economy, let's give you a short update on what has been happening in Thai politics, especially with the cabinet under the Pathongthai administration, because so far there are some rumors and speculations as to who will be joining the cabinet and who will be dropped or who will still be included in this cabinet. But everything is still not finalized, because as we're all aware, they have to do a lot of background checks so that they prevent themselves from repeating the same mistake that Sethar did. And that has ousted him from his position as well. So Prime Minister Pathongthai Shinawatra has reiterated today that she will have the final say on the cabinet lineup. When asked whether there will be outsiders joining her cabinet, she asked reporters to wait and see. Pathongthai was granted a royal audience as the 31st Prime Minister of Thailand on August 18th after winning enough votes in Parliament. Since then, her coalition parties have scrambled to nominate their candidates for ministerial portfolios. Each candidate will be carefully scrutinized to prevent a repeat of the appointment of someone like Pichit Chunban to the cabinet by former Prime Minister Sethar Thavisin. And as we previously reported, Sethar was removed from office by the Constitutional Court for appointing Pichit despite having served a prison sentence in the past. Pathongthai told reporters that one of the main problems is the Palang Pracharat Party of General Prawit Wongsuwan, because right now it is divided into 2 factions, with each nominating their own candidates. And she said that before anything is finalized, Palang Pracharat Party will have to settle its own problems first. So she even said that we will have to wait and see how the situation turns out. Pathongthai also says that she wants her cabinet lineup to be completed as soon as possible, because the country faces many challenges and obstacles that need to be addressed. And as for the timeline as to when the cabinet will be finalized and when will Pathongthai deliver the policy statement. So the timeline indicates that she will present her cabinet to His Majesty the King in early September, followed by her cabinet swearing the oath before His Majesty. And it is also expected that she will deliver her policy statement to Parliament on September 11th, as required by the Charter, which mandates that a Prime Minister delivers their policy statement within 15 days of the swearing-in ceremony. So this is just a brief timeline of what will happen when they finalize the cabinet and when the official list is released and when she will deliver the policy statements. But as we said earlier, though, the scrutinizing of each cabinet minister will be more intense than before because of the case that happened with Seta Thavisin, who appointed Pichit Chunban as the minister, and knowingly that he was a convict before, and he still appointed him, and that has put him in trouble. So for the Pattongtarn cabinet, she wants to prevent making the same mistake.
I think this is why Pattongtarn take a lot of time to see if who will become which ministers, and of course Pattongtarn doesn't want to get into the same trouble as Seta Thavisin has put in. But of course, this very slow development in politics has affected a lot in economy, in international relations. Of course, for the economy, we've seen digital wallet scheme stagnating for many weeks, for many months, and of course, people are waiting for that. And since the beginning of the August, Thai citizens has the right to register for that. But when to get that money, 10,000 baht, still in the air. Another part is the international relations. The reason why I talk about it, because of course we know that BIMSTEC summit will take place on 3rd to 4th September originally. But right now, of course, that summit includes Prime Minister of India Modi, Prime Minister of Bhutan and Nepal, and other leaders from the Bay of Bengal. Right now, they postpone their trips to Thailand because of this slow motion of political development.
Instability as well. The political instability and also uncertainties with who will be in this new government, and this affects the policies that will be delivered in September as well. And because of these uncertainties, of course, people would feel unsure about what is going on in Thailand, and that has discouraged many of the investors from putting their money and investing into Thailand.
And why wouldn't they, if the political instability is still deteriorating all the time, why would they put their investment in Thailand? They would choose Vietnam or Malaysia or other neighboring countries in ASEAN. So I think, of course, the new Prime Minister Pattongtarn Shinawatra has to find that very intact list of ministerial position as soon as possible.
Especially with the finance ministry and all the other related ministries. And one thing we also have to mention, though, that what she's been repeating all the time is what has been happening with the Palang Pracharat party, because there are two factions right now. The one faction led by General Prawit Wongsuwan and another faction led by Thamarat Phrompao. Because last week there were rumors that Thamarat will be dropped from the new cabinet because of his prior conviction back in the 90s, and that may be one of the reasons why Thamarat may not be included in this new cabinet. But because of this friction, you can see that the two factions are nominating their own list of ministers. So, and it seems like the General Prawit faction and the Thamarat faction don't get along anymore, so that was why.
That's the power struggle there. And of course, it affects not just domestic politics, the international relations with other countries too, within Thailand and Bay of Bengal and other part of the world. And let's turn the page to business. I think it's better to talk about it because, of course, maybe Prime Minister Pattongtarn Shinawatra right now relieve a little bit of pressure because household debt slows in the first quarter in 2024. And the reason why the household debt slows is because stricter loan approval criteria, the National Economic and Social Development Council or NESDC reported that household climbed to staggering 16.3 trillion baht in the first quarter, but this places household debt at 90.8% of GDP, down slightly from 91.4%. And the reason why the household debt slows at this point due to stricter loan approval criteria. These tightens come as response to both soaring household debt levels and declining credit quality. But there are some implications. Rising non-performing loans, it means that the loaner they couldn't pay all the loans. So consumer credit NPLs at commercial banks have swelled to 163 billion baht, accounting for 2.99% of total loans, up from 2.88% in the previous quarter. And there's another point. The pressure points credit cards and informal lending. Of course, one analyst say that two critical areas requiring immediate attention. The first is the urgent need to reconstruct debt for credit card holders who have been hit hard by the Bank of Thailand's recent increase in the minimum payment from 5% to 8%. The second concern lies in shadowy realm of informal lending, particularly through social media channels. And of course, there's another point. It's about unemployment rate and automation adding to economic warmth. The NESDC reported a slight uptick in the unemployment rate, which increased to 1.07% in the first quarter. And of course, SME, they are struggle to stay in the economic too, because the soaring total loans to 7.2% by the end of 2023, nearly double from a year earlier. Rising costs and economic pressures are driving fears of potential job cuts. Agricultural also under pressure. And the conclusion there from NESDC as Thailand navigates these turbulent waters, the interplay between household debt, employment, and agricultural resilience will be critical to the nation's economic stability. So of course, we've seen now the household debt slows down a bit from 91% to 90%. But of course, the government, they has to give some more stimulus packages, I think, for the domestic economy too.
I think this is something that Thaksin Shinawatra mentioned during his keynote speech last week, because the household debt is increasing and the cost of living has been skyrocketing for many years already. And one thing that he mentioned was that people's faces are not as smiley as before. This is from his observation because of the responsibilities that are on people's back at the moment, whether it's debt issues or the cost of living. So this was why Thaksin mentioned that this is something that really needs to be fixed the most.
And I think it's a very good observation, as people do not really smell a lot like before, because no matter its cost of living, as what you said, maybe kway teow, I mean, the noodles in Thai before 10 years before, maybe 30 to 40 baht, right now 50 baht, 60 baht already. So of course, it's a very, very large amount of cost and household debt too. It means that cash flow is not that much in the system.
So this is going to be a huge challenge for the Pattongtan government as to how they will address the underlying issues with the Thai economy. And previously, NASDAQ has released the economic figures, and for the second quarter of 2024, it was recorded at about 2.3% of the GDP growth, and that was an increase from the first quarter, which was recorded around 1.6%, and they forecasted that the overall economy for this year will grow at about 2.5%. And one thing that they mentioned that needs to be addressed the most, and it's also an urgent issue, is political stability. Because without political stability, there is no way that you're going to boost or improve the economy.
And remember yesterday we talked about the poll that Pattongtan would survive without his father's support. Maybe it's 50-ish%, I understand.
Yeah, 59% felt that Pattongtan cannot survive without her father.
That's the point. And of course, her father is with her side right now, but you talk about the GDP figure there, it's a lagging factor. I think what really impacts the economy the most as what you said, political instability.
Right, the political instability, and there are still many other issues that need to be addressed, but political instability at the moment is something that needs to be fixed urgently. If this is not fixed, then there's nothing we can do with the economy. And considering that the situation of the Thai government right now, it's still like up in the air at the moment. Who will be in the cabinet? Who will be the finance minister? And what are the policies that are in store to improve the Thai overall climate, the economic climate as well?
So we will see, of course, up until the middle of September.
In mid-September, we will actually have an idea as to which of the policies that will be laid out to improve the Thai economy and as well as to improve the livelihoods of the people as promised by the Thai government as well. And that wraps up tonight's edition of Thai PBS World Tonight. Join us every Monday and Tuesday at 6 p.m. on Thai PBS World's Facebook and YouTube Live. And don't forget to follow us on social media and our website, thaipbsworld.com, for all the latest updates about Thailand as well as analyses. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีครับ